And so we have this real tension that if the tournament's a great commercial success, it'll be an environmental catastrophe. If, and this is the fear of the kind of hospitality industry in the United States in particular, bookings are down, they worry people won't turn up, then perhaps the environmental impact will be less.
Welcome to the Research and Reason podcast. Join us as we discuss the latest research, news and opinion from academics in the Faculty of Arts and Education at the University of Auckland.
Kia ora koutou. Julianne Evans tōku ingoa. I'm Julianne Evans, the Media Advisor for the Faculty of Arts and Education. And my guest today is sociologist Dr. Chris McMillan. Chris is particularly interested in the intersection of sport, capitalism and climate change, often in relation to cricket and sport generally in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Tēnā koe, Chris. Great to have you here.
Thanks, it's an absolute treat.
Well, the biggest sporting event in the world is about to happen, the FIFA World Cup, which is coming to Canada, the US and Mexico. It's going to be hosted across 16 venues. It's going to be huge. It's got 48 teams for the first time and 104 matches. It's probably going to be watched by, extraordinary amounts of people all over the world.
6 billion, FIFA's suggesting.
Oh my gosh. So, and football is just the world's game, isn't it? Much as we don't like to admit that here in New Zealand. Although lately we've been excited about it because we've got the All Whites going to the World Cup for the first time since 2010, and we hope that they'll get out of the group stage and just do well, don't we?
Get a first win, yeah. New Zealand's finally playing on the global stage here.
I know.
Finally joining the beautiful game.
I know, isn't that great? I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's FIFA's goal, expand the tournament, get different countries involved. Yeah,
no, great. However, we'll start just on some of the other stuff first before we get too excited. You've got some concerns climate-wise, you're not alone, about the massive nature of this event. What are some of them, just to get started?
Yeah, well, as these sort of sporting mega events, the Olympics, FIFA, as they get bigger, I mean, they already had a massive climate impact anyway, but as they get bigger, they have more venues, more teams, we've got 104 matches now, their environmental impact is getting bigger and bigger, with some suggesting this is going to be a climate catastrophe. It's going to have predicted to be and all these are predictions based on fan behaviour and what people will do, whether they'll turn up. But it's predicted to be the most environmentally damaging sports event of all time.
Wow. Why?
Why? Predominantly because you've got so many teams flying in. Yeah. We've got more teams, bigger squads, more fans potentially showing up. We're across 3 different countries now and a really broad area. Obviously, United States, Canada, huge countries. Flying from the East Coast to West Coast is a fair distance. So we've got around 86% of emissions are coming from air or predicted to come from air transportation.
People getting to the venues and then moving around between the countries and between the cities and venues within countries.
So we've got more teams, more fans travelling and having to go further distances to more places. That inherently leads to more carbon emissions.
Are they offsetting them? I mean, FIFA is pretty good at talking up its game when it comes to sustainable events and so on, isn't it? And I imagine it's saying a bunch of stuff about that at the moment.
To a degree. I think perhaps we're seeing a withdrawal or a shrinking from the sustainability place. They'll still talk a big game. They'll still mention carbon offsets. But what's interesting about this tournament is that there's no kind of comprehensive sustainability strategy. Instead, all the work has been pushed onto the host venues. And very few of them actually have sustainability strategies. And those are perhaps around waste management, reusing resources at stadia. And the interesting thing, or the real contradiction, is that these host venues rely on more people coming.
Right.
They rely on tourists coming. And tourists, as I say, are producing the vast majority of these emissions. So for a successful tournament for the host venues, they want more people coming in. They want more admissions. And so pushing on responsibility to these venues is a little contradictory, really.
Yeah.
And so we have this real tension that if the tournament's a great commercial success, it'll be an environmental catastrophe. And this is the fear of the kind of hospitality industry in the United States in particular, bookings are down, they worry people won't turn up, then perhaps the environmental impact will be less.
Gosh, yeah, so it's a conundrum. Also, the tickets are so expensive.
Incredibly expensive.
Yeah. I mean, I heard somebody saying, that they would like to go. This is somebody interviewed in America, in New York or somewhere, but they said they couldn't afford it.
Yeah, and it's tricky working out exactly what prices are because they're using something called dynamic prices that we're not used to here. We're used to just tickets are $50, you go along, you buy that. Whereas with these dynamic prices that the American sports market is really used to, the price changes depending on demand. So early on, when a lot of people were logging in, then the demand is high and the prices are high. But even now, you're looking at $200, $300, perhaps $400 New Zealand dollars for as the lowest price tickets to a pretty low-profile match. Tens of thousands. It was even reported that tickets were going in the millions for the World Cup final. This is through the resale sites. So it's going to be most likely the most lucrative sports tournament in human history. But who pays that price and who benefits from that is a really big question.
Yeah. And the heat. That's something I know you've talked about before.
Yes.
In other, as it relates to cricket, one of your favourite sports. But here as well, it's an issue, isn't it? And it already is an issue. I saw the All Whites sort of warming up for their, some sort of tournament game in Florida, I think it is. And it looked hot. It looked really hot. Now they've got the drinks breaks thing.
Yes, yes. I mean, this is, you've got coaches saying that this is the thing they're preparing for. This tournament is going to be suffering. And that's not kind of hyperbole, that we see this, that they had the 2025, or last year they had the Club World Cup there. Games were delayed by heat, by extreme weather.
Is this in the US?
This is in the United States.
Yeah.
And we've got to put a caveat here. This is a huge geographical area.
Yeah.
And what you get in Vancouver is different from what you get in
Mexico
or East Coast. So we're looking at a whole range of things. But 10 of the 16 venues are at heat risks. About a quarter of games could exceed safety limits. The risk of extreme heat has doubled since 1994, which was the last time the United States hosted the tournament. So we've got this thing here that players, fans, and we can't forget workers as well, are under risk as those temperatures get higher and higher. And so we might have a couple of effects. One, it is just dangerous for players that we could see real heat injuries, if that's the right word, heat emergencies perhaps. We could see players collapsing. But on the lower end of things, I think it's suggested we'll have more breaks, both because FIFA's brought in quarter-time and three-quarter-time breaks. We'll see more hydration just spontaneously for the players, and we might see just more sluggish play in general as it gets both hotter and more humid. And so we have got this measure called wet bulb globe temperature, which is a combination of heat and humidity. And at a certain point, the human body, which uses sweat to cool itself down, can't use that to cool itself down. It loses its self-cooling measure. And that's when we really get into dangerous territory. And as you suggest, we've seen that in other sports before. But we've got billions watching on. And weather is unpredictable.
Yeah.
But if we've got midday games, particularly in southern areas, there's a real risk that you might see players collapsing.
You have to wonder, is it worth it? I mean, for anything.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
And it does kind of show the future of sport here. And this is highly tuned athletes playing in very strong, very high quality facilities, some air conditioned, but others not. What does it say if you're playing in the middle of summer as a non-conditioned amateur athlete with no shade whatsoever and fewer opportunities for hydration? This is a dangerous future for sport, and we're going to see it in a few weeks' time.
And it will affect people differently, won't it? Like people who are used to the heat from African countries, for example, you would assume might be better acclimatised to what they'll find.
Sure, yeah. And if you're coming out of Auckland's winter and then the All Whites' first game is against Iran in Los Angeles at 1 p.m., that time of day is really difficult. We obviously don't know what the weather will be, but there's a real risk that temperatures could be very high. And while the All Whites, I'm sure, are trying to adjust to that, it's going to be difficult no matter what. It'll affect the players. It'll affect
the game itself.
It'll affect the flow of the play.
When you stop and start.
Yes.
I mean, not that should be one's key priority, but as a matter of interest, it will also affect the flow of the game. It'll advantage some above others depending on where they were at that moment of the break, and who loses their concentration.
And we're seeing it's changing tactics, it's changing preparation. So that Club World Cup last year that I mentioned, teams were cancelling practice sessions or running them very early in the morning. They might have to make more substitutions. Players might be sitting in air-conditioned changing rooms before they come on. Yeah. So it's not just a kind of abstract, the climate is changing. The climate has and continues to change, and you're going to see it affecting all those involved in the tournament.
Yeah. Well, let's hope it doesn't affect them so badly.
Yes.
And they can't really change the games to being later or cooler, can they? Because they've got so many to fit in.
They do, yeah. So the ideal would be air-conditioned stadia
late at night.
Yeah. And this is what we're seeing a lot of sports do. But there's 104 matches.
Yeah.
And the main concern is perhaps not fans, but broadcast schedules. Yes. And what broadcasters want is regular content that fits over a range of time zones. So if you're playing a number of games during the day, starting early afternoon, going to the evening, that's what works for broadcasters.
Yeah, and it also, you do have games to fit in, don't you?
Of course,
you can't wait for everybody to be...
Yeah, I mean, the Champions League final was just last week.
Yeah.
So
are you an Arsenal fan?
I am not. And we'll leave it there.
Okay. Yes. The one thing they're saying, well, some people are saying, is that because they haven't had to build all these places from scratch, they're just using the stadia that exist. Is that changing the equation a bit in favour of the climate?
A bit, yeah. I mean, constructing venues can produce a fair both local environmental impact in terms of resource use and waste, and also carbon emissions. And we've seen this as a major sustainability measure. Paris Olympics did it well. And it also takes a lot of the costs of host venues as well and having to build things. Nonetheless, as the research suggests, the vast majority of emissions come from fan travel. So it's great that they're doing this, but it's not really tackling the problem.
No. What about transportation within the cities themselves? I mean, how are the cities going to cope with the impact of all of these people just turning up like this?
Yes. Well, I mean, if the advantage of America is that they have, America in particular, the United States in particular, is that they have a well-established sports stadia network. Right. Public transport is not known to be a strength in a lot of areas. A lot of sustainability claims are made about, fans will use active modes of transportation or they'll use public transport. We yet to see whether public transport systems will hold up in some cities. And the other thing we've seen is that host cities, because they bear the financial risk, are trying to push that onto fans. And so some of the prices, I think we saw train prices going from $12 US to around about $150 or $100 US.
Where was that? Just across the whole?
I believe that's from New York to New Jersey. But listeners, you may be able to correct me on that one.
Yeah.
And parking itself is a couple $100. It will take, it takes a long time to drive there. So hotel costs, ticket costs, transportation costs. It's a lot for fans.
It is. Where is the opening? I should know this, but the sort of opening ceremony type thing. Do you know where it is?
We should both know this.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just wondering what that venue will be like and how that will cope. But we'll find this out.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Break.
There's going to be no doubt grand ceremonies at halftime shows now. It's going to be very American.
Apparently, there will be a halftime show.
Yes.
And I heard too, really dyed-in-the-wool British football fans complaining about how appalling it would be to hear, I think the band is Coldplay, playing at halftime when you were trying to focus on what you were doing. But
Well, the main thing is halftime's not going to be 10 minutes, cup of tea, beer and a comfort break. It's going to be half an hour in these games with shows. Yeah. And it's going to feel a little bit more American. Those hydration breaks, the bigger half times when they have shows.
Just more razzmatazz.
Yeah. A bit of Ritz, yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, it'll be interesting to watch that.
Yes.
Thinking, moving away from the climate thing for a moment to politics, we've got a very interesting situation with the current administration in the US, not perhaps not liking certain countries in terms of their visas and so on. We've got a war, an active war going on still with Iran. And we, as a country, as the All Whites, are playing Iran for our first game of in the group stage. How is this all going to work?
Oh, yes. I mean, football is fun. Football is beautiful. But the geopolitics, the sociology of this tournament
so
are
complex.
fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, these football World Cups, men's and women's, and the Olympics, they used to be seen, or perhaps still are, as this kind of expression of the global village, the idea of globalization in which space, place mattered less. The country you were from, territory mattered less. That we were all more globally connected, and nations and localities mattered less. And the world would join together. As I say, they were suggesting 6 billion people will engage with the tournament, but you still got 1.42 billion people watched the last men's World Cup.
Wow.
It's humanity together, conflict perhaps put aside. But more recently, we've seen this sort of turn to nationalism and this sort of populist nationalism in which people are shutting down borders. There's far more anti-migrant concern. We've seen the Trump administration put up tariffs. And we're really going to see that at play because ideally, the way the finances of this tournament would work we would have masses of tourists coming in. That fans would come to support their team, to travel around the 3 countries and the various venues.
However,
however, I mean, we've got this extraordinary situation where a host country is at war with a participant country,
and yet that country is still turning up.
It's still turning up, yes, under a fair bit of political pressure from all sides, despite there being an absolute travel ban on Iran. So they've got exclusions for players and those in the support teams, although some harsh words about whether non-support people would be brought in the guise of a trainer or a media person. Marco Rubio was talking about that. We've also got a travel ban on Haiti as well, and a number of other countries. They face really stern bonds, perhaps, or visa application process.
Aren't we playing Haiti in a pre-match?
We are, yeah. So
yeah.
no fans will be. But you might see the diasporas come out, and the Irani one is fascinating because you might see quite a large anti-regime turnout.
Who currently live in the US.
Who currently live in the US.
Yeah, for that reason, probably.
Yes, so it's sort of an expression of nationality. We're going to see those tensions there.
Yeah.
But you might also see ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Police, outside games. Perhaps that will suppress turnout for some nations as well. And just, I think for a lot of people, the idea of going to the US is a little scary now.
Well, it's daunting, and especially, the feeling that your social media might be looked at and,
yes.
Scanned for anti-administration sentiment, for
yes.
example.
So there's concerns about the sort of Trump effect that if the tournament and if these venues are so reliant on tourists turning up, and as I was suggesting, that's where the carbon emissions come from, what happens if they don't? What happens if they're protesting or just fearful of ticket prices?
Or violence.
Or violence,
I bet they must have a massive security thing going on at the moment.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've seen this. We've seen your tourism from Canada has dropped substantially. Obviously, Canada's hosting its own matches.
Yes.
But that might be a reflection of whether Scottish fans or whoever might come.
And it might be that those fans gravitate to Canada or to Mexico in preference to the US, do you think?
Well, depends on where your team is playing. But like New Zealand's playing a couple of games in Vancouver. If you're a New Zealand fan and you think, well, I might pop across for a game.
And it's a beautiful city. Why
not go to Vancouver rather than LA? That might be part of the calculus for some people.
I wish I was going. I think Vancouver sounds like a nice place to go and see a game of football.
We'll see. I mean, a lot of these tournaments, we had Qatar last time. We've had Russia. 2034 is Saudi Arabia. Often fans sort of hold their nose and say, yes, I know that there's some difficult things that I'm uncomfortable with here.
Some deeply concerning human rights problems.
Nonetheless, I'm here for the football, and I'm going to sort of convince myself that to enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, just talking to you now about all these things, it strikes me as this massive set of uncertainty. There's just so much uncertainty around what will happen.
Absolutely.
I mean, let's hope it all goes off well. Let's hope everybody loves it. Let's hope, nobody dies of heat stroke or gets involved in political violence. So we've got a whole month ahead of us.
We do.
From the 11th of June to the 19th of July.
That's right.
A big month where we just don't know how it's all going to turn out. But we haven't discussed the commercialism aspect of it. What do you see there?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things to kind of point out, and these are all FIFA figures I'm going to tell you, so take them with a grain of salt, but it is a massive capitalist commercial enterprise here. FIFA suggests the tournament's going to have a gross economic impact of US $80 billion.
Wow.
Broadcast deals of $4 billion. This is a huge economy here. And I think the question for a lot of football fans is, who is this tournament for? Is it for broadcasters? Is it for sponsors or commercial partners? Is it for FIFA? I think if we think about those fan ticket prices we were talking about before, to argue this is for fans might...
And not wash.
Yes, it might not wash at all.
I mean, one could say it's for players.
We could. I mean, and I think this is what's at the heart. And I have to make heart of the tournament. I have to make this argument because I'm quite critical of sport, but I love sport. And there is something.
And you like watching sport.
I do. I will be watching it.
Yeah.
I'll pay
Have
my.
You got the package?
I haven't. I resent it. But I will probably buy it.
Yes.
I'll
Just
put my money.
Just for listeners, there is a package that you can get. I think it's on TVNZ, where you pay $45 and you watch. You can then watch all the games. Whereas the All Whites games, I believe, are free to air on TVNZ.
Yes, and we can't escape these things.
Yeah.
That like it is. If you reduce it. It's an expression of place, it's expression of joy, it's expression of hope. Sport is nothing without
It's
hope.
so dramatic, isn't it? It's
it
the
is.
highs and the lows.
And it's a wonderful community endeavour, sport in general, but also the tournament. And these tournaments, they haven't always... It's easy for us to see it as natural to see all these sponsors and a big commercial event. It hasn't always been like that. It doesn't have to be like that. But... a lot of the decisions that are being made are to increase the commercial value of the tournament. The reason this one's been held in these countries is because they promise the greatest profits. The reason for the timing of the matches, the reason for more teams is simply to bring in more revenue.
And who is getting this revenue?
Well, that's an interesting question. That has many
broadcasters,
difficult
obviously.
questions. Yeah, who profits? Broadcasters, commercial partners profit. FIFA would say, being the most generous, that the most generous interpretation of this is that as we expanded to more teams, they get more money from participating. We've brought in more revenue, and we can distribute more revenue
widely around the world.
To develop football, to develop the beautiful
because
game.
Teams get paid to be in this tournament, don't they?
They do.
They
get
paid for winning.
They get paid for winning. They get paid for participating, but also that money gets distributed to members, and even things like tournaments, the 2023 Women's World Cup that was partially held here. A lot of the money got into, say, redoing local facilities for training venues for teams.
Yeah.
So it's not like this has just been squirreled away for private entities.
It does trickle down a bit.
It does, yes. But also, those broadcasters, and advertisers, they are making money out of it, and a lot of it. And, the question might be, in trying to maximize revenue, because I think if we looked at all the decisions that are being made here, it's not about getting that kid to fall in love with football by offering $10 tickets. Those are not people who are coming along.
No.
You're saying we're going to maximize commercial value.
It's very elite, isn't it?
It is. And we're saying, okay, there's some evils that come with this, perhaps. You're not going to get tickets to go to the World Cup final. But we can make a huge amount of money and we can distribute it, and then you can buy some footballs for your club. It's quite the bargain, really. And I think there's a question of, are we losing the heart of the sport in doing so?
Yeah. What about FIFA itself, though? Who gets rich at FIFA?
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole different podcast, I think. FIFA and corruption has a long history.
Yeah.
And the various power interests that are embedded in FIFA. I mean, FIFA,
because it's an entity. Is it a committee? Is it one person?
Well, I think we could argue that those at the top of FIFA have entrenched their positions by promising wealth to to other countries through these tournaments and through expanding the range of tournaments so you get more countries participating. FIFA is a difficult organization. There's a whole lot of things around corruption, around tax-exempt status, around who's making decisions. They had bribery scandals in the past. So if you look at kind of FIFA's official story, they're working for the beautiful game. They're working to expand it. It's all about growth.
Community, connection.
Humanity come together. I think a lot of people would take that cynically and wonder whether it's those at the top of football who are benefiting the very, very most.
Yeah. But meanwhile, we have got a sporting event to watch, haven't we?
We do. And two things can be true at once. We can watch the game and think, oh, this is slightly troubling. But come on.
But we can also love it. Have you got a prediction on who is looking good and who might win?
Oh, this is the funny that we live in such a chaotic, crisis-prone world. But I was looking through in preparation for this podcast. France, Spain, Brazil, Argentina, whisper it, England. These are the.
Do they dare to dream?
It's the hope that gets you, I think. These teams are still the teams, so everything might change. But
did you say Germany in there?
I didn't.
Yeah, you can't discount
German
them.
Listeners, you'll have to forgive me here.
So you're not a betting person, I imagine, but would you chance a bet?
Well, I think I'm not a betting person, and I'll just arbitrarily say Spain. But I think this is the joy of it. We don't know. It's not scripted.
And some of these people who are really highly favoured can be kicked out by the underdogs, can't they?
Yeah. And I wonder if we are going to see it. It's a slightly different matter. But in expanding the amount of teams, you really are going to see some blowouts in the early rounds, perhaps.
And some big names may be going out
earlier
than they hope.
Well, I think almost the opposite. That as we've got more teams, then the gaps between those teams, if you move from 24 teams, perhaps every team's close, which was the previous model model a long time ago. If we go to 64 teams, and you've got to say the All Whites ranked 85th in the world playing Belgium, who I think are 9th, then the games are less even, and there's going to be less kind of jeopardy on those early matches. So we might get all hyped up. And we as Always fans will be, because these are big games for us.
Because we've got 3 games. We've got a game against Iran.
We've got Belgium. We've got Egypt.
That's right.
Believe. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Belgium is going to be very tough.
Yes.
And Egypt is a very good team as well.
So we might see this, the tournament's starting, but we don't actually see any big matches for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But it's the unpredictability and the hope.
It is.
That
And we
you.
always can hope. We can always hope.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Some of my sort of colleagues, contributors might say, these things are catastrophes. They must be banned. I don't think so. I think we need to just get back to the heart of it, the beauty, the hope, the community that comes with the drama that comes with football.
Great. Hey, thank you, Chris. It's been lovely chatting.
Oh, it's been lovely. Thank you so much.
You've been listening to the Research and Reason podcast. Stay up to date with the Faculty of Arts and Education by following us on social media.